There's a folder on my desktop that I have not opened in 3 years. Inside it is a document titled Freedom Date, July 2027. That was supposed to be the day I walked away from needing anyone's permission to live my life, the day the system no longer had a claim on my time, the day I became genuinely free. I have not opened it because I am terrified of what I will find. Not because I failed, but because I succeeded 2 years early in 2025, and I am genuinely afraid that if I look back at that plan, I will realize how simple it actually was and how many years I wasted before I finally started. Here's what nobody tells you about building a financial escape plan. The hardest part is not the math. It is not the discipline. It is not even the sacrifice. The hardest part is accepting that you have been standing 3 feet from the exit door for years, convinced it was a wall. Today, I'm going to hand you the blueprint I wish someone had slapped on the table in front of me 10 years ago. Not theory, not motivation, the actual step-by-step construction manual for building your way out. And I'm going to show you why most people never escape, not because they cannot, but because they are building their plan on a foundation designed to collapse. If you watched my last video on the paycheck prison, you saw the trap. Today, you are going to learn how to dismantle it, piece by piece, until the day you wake up and realize the cage door has been open for months. My name is Johnny, and if you are new here, this channel exists for one reason: to show you the mechanical reality of how money actually works, stripped of all the myths that keep you running in place. No gimmicks, no get-rich-quick fantasies, just the architecture of actual freedom. Let me start with the moment I realized I needed an escape plan at all. The conversation that broke something open. 3 years ago, I sat in a coffee shop with someone who had just retired at 47. Not because they inherited money, not because they won some startup lottery. They simply executed a plan that most people would call impossible, and they did it on a salary that never broke $120,000. I asked them the question everyone asks: how did you do it? And their answer made my stomach drop. I did not do anything extraordinary. I just stopped doing the things everyone else refuses to stop doing. That sentence hit me like cold water, because I realized in that moment that I had been approaching my entire financial life backward. I was trying to earn my way to freedom. They had planned their way there. Earning more does not set you free. I proved that to myself over and over. Every raise I ever received evaporated into a slightly better version of the same trap. What sets you free is a plan so specific, so ruthlessly designed, that it eliminates the possibility of accidentally staying trapped. And here's the part that's going to sound harsh, but I need you to hear it. If you do not have a written escape plan with actual dates, actual numbers, and actual steps, you are not planning to escape. You are planning to hope, and hope is not a plan. It is a delayed surrender. Today, that changes. The 3 lies that kill escape plans before they start. Before I show you how to build this thing correctly, we need to destroy 3 lies that are currently living in your head, whispering that you cannot do this. Because if we do not kill these first, they will sabotage everything that comes next. Lie number 1, I will start when I earn more. This is the most seductive lie because it sounds so logical. Of course, it would be easier to save and invest if you just made more money, right? Wrong. I know people earning $40,000 who are building escape velocity. I know people earning $400,000 who are further from freedom than they were 5 years ago. The difference is not the income, it's the decision to start with what you have instead of waiting for perfect conditions that will never arrive. Every single month you delay because you are waiting to earn more is a month you lose the most valuable resource in this entire equation: time. Compound growth does not care about your intentions. It rewards action, early action, and it punishes hesitation with mathematical precision. You do not need more money to start. You need to start so you can have more money. Lie number 2, I am too far behind. Maybe you're 35 with nothing saved. Maybe you're 42 with debt. Maybe you're 28 and just realized you've been financially asleep for 6 years, and now you're convinced that people who started at 22 have an insurmountable advantage. Let me tell you what I've watched happen in real life. I have seen people start at 40 and retire at 55. I have seen people start drowning in 6 figures of debt and reach financial independence in 12 years. I have seen people wake up late and still build something so solid that their past mistakes became completely irrelevant. You are not too far behind. You are exactly on time for the rest of your life. The question is whether you are going to spend the next 10 years wishing you had started today, or whether you are going to make today the day you stop wishing and start building. Lie number 3, freedom means deprivation. This one keeps more people trapped than almost anything else. The belief that building an escape plan means living like a monk, eating rice and beans in a dark apartment, sacrificing every single thing that makes life worth living. That's not an escape plan. That's a different prison. The people I know who actually made it out didn't deprive themselves into freedom. They made ruthlessly intelligent decisions about what mattered and what didn't. They spent extravagantly on the things that genuinely added value to their lives and cut without mercy the things that were just noise. Freedom is not about spending nothing. It's about spending intentionally and keeping the difference between what comes in and what comes out wide enough that your future self has options your current self can't even imagine. Now that those lies are dead, let me show you what you're actually building. The 4 walls of your escape plan. Think of your financial escape plan like a structure with 4 walls. Each wall is non-negotiable. If even one is missing, the whole thing collapses. And most people spend their entire lives trying to build a roof without ever laying a foundation. Here's the structure that actually works. Wall 1, the clarity wall. Know your finish line. You can't escape to nowhere. You need a specific destination or you'll wander in circles forever, feeling busy but getting nowhere. Most people say they want financial freedom. That is not a destination. That is a vague feeling. Freedom from what? Freedom to do what? By when? Here's what I did, and here's what I'm telling you to do tonight, not next week, tonight. Open a blank document. At the top, write this: my freedom date is specific month and year. Not someday, not eventually, a specific date. Now, under that, answer this question with brutal specificity. What does my life look like the day after I am financially free? Not what you own. What does your day look like? How do you spend your time? What are you no longer doing? What are you finally able to start? Who are you with? Where are you living? Paint the picture so clearly that you could walk into it tomorrow and recognize it immediately. Because here's what most people miss. You're not building toward a number in a bank account. You're building toward a life. And if you don't know what that life looks like, you'll optimize for the wrong things and wonder why hitting your financial goals didn't actually change anything. I know someone who saved $1 million and then realized they had built their entire plan around a life they didn't actually want. They hit the number and felt nothing. Don't let that be you. Write the life first. Reverse engineer the numbers second. Wall 2, the math wall. Know your exact number. Once you know what freedom looks like, you need to know exactly what it costs. Not approximately, exactly.
Here is the formula that every single person who has successfully escaped uses. It is called the freedom number, and it is absurdly simple. Take your annual living expenses in your freedom life. Multiply by 25. That is the amount you need invested to walk away forever. Why 25? Because of something called the 4% rule. If you withdraw 4% of your invested assets per year, historically, your money lasts indefinitely. 4% of your total invested assets equals 1 year of expenses. So if you need $40,000 a year to live your freedom life, you need $1 million invested. If you need $60,000, you need $1.5 million. Now, I can already hear the objections forming in your head. Johnny, $1 million? I will never get there. Stop. Listen to me. That number is not meant to crush you, it is meant to free you. Because for the first time in your life, you are not guessing, you have a target. And the moment you have a target, you can build a plan to hit it. Most people never escape because they are aiming at fog. You are about to aim at a specific point on the horizon, and that changes everything. Wall 3, the gap wall. Engineer your monthly surplus. This is where most plans die, not because people do not understand the math, but because they refuse to confront the gap. The gap is the difference between what you earn and what you spend. That gap, and only that gap, is what builds your escape. If your gap is 0, your escape date is never. If your gap is 10% of your income, you have a date. If your gap is 30%, you have a date that is going to shock you with how close it actually is. Here's what I need you to do, and I need you to do it this week. Track every single dollar that leaves your account for 30 days. Not to judge yourself, not to feel guilty, to see reality. Most people think they know where their money goes. They do not. They know where the big chunks go. They have no idea about the slow leak of small transactions that drain $100, $200, sometimes $500 a month into things they do not remember and do not value. Once you see it, you will feel one of two things, either anger or relief. Both are useful. Then, you're going to do something that will feel uncomfortable. You're going to divide every single expense into one of two categories: freedom builders and freedom killers. Freedom builders are expenses that either maintain your ability to earn, protect your health, or genuinely add irreplaceable value to your life. Freedom killers are everything else. Subscriptions you do not use, convenience purchases that save 5 minutes but cost $50, lifestyle inflation you adopted because everyone around you did. Your job is not to eliminate every freedom killer overnight. Your job is to murder one per month until your gap becomes a chasm. I watched someone cancel 6 subscriptions they forgot they had and save $160 a month. Over 10 years invested, that's over $38,000. They bought themselves an entire year of freedom by clicking cancel 6 times. You have more control than you think. You've just been giving it away without noticing. Wall 4, the acceleration wall. Turn your gap into a machine. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because once you have a gap, once you have money left over every month, most people make a catastrophic mistake. They save it. Saving is not enough. Saving is defense. You need offense. Every single dollar in your gap needs a job, and that job is to multiply. Not sit, not wait, multiply. This is the part where people get nervous because they think I am about to tell them to day trade cryptocurrency or pick individual stocks. I'm not. That is gambling, and gambling is not a plan. Here's what actually works, what has worked for decades, and what will continue working long after we're gone. Take your gap, automate it every single month into low-cost index funds, total market funds, funds that track the entire economy. You're not trying to beat the market, you're trying to become the market. Historically, the market returns about 10% annually. Some years more, some years less, but over time, 10% is the average. That doesn't sound exciting, it sounds boring. Boring is the point, because boring and consistent will take a 25-year-old investing $500 a month and turn them into a millionaire by 50. Boring and consistent will take a 35-year-old investing $1,000 a month and get them to financial independence by 52. The math is not the mystery. The mystery is why so few people actually do it. If you are still with me, you are in the top 5%. Most people have already clicked away because the reality of what I just laid out is too confronting. It requires them to stop pretending and start building. You are still here, which tells me something important. You are serious. So now I'm going to show you the part nobody talks about, the part that separates the people who finish from the people who start strong and fade. The invisible enemy, lifestyle drift. You are going to build your plan, you're going to start executing, you're going to feel the momentum, and then something is going to happen that you will not see coming. Life is going to offer you an upgrade. Maybe you get a raise, maybe you pay off a debt and suddenly have an extra $300 a month. Maybe a friend invites you on a trip that is just slightly more expensive than you normally spend. And in that moment, you are going to have a choice that will determine whether you escape or stay trapped forever. You can absorb the upgrade into your lifestyle, or you can absorb it into your escape plan. Most people choose the first option without even realizing it's a choice. They earned more, so they spend more. The gap stays the same. The escape date does not move, and 5 years later, they're earning 30% more and still exactly as far from freedom as they were before. This is lifestyle drift, and it is the silent killer of every escape plan ever built. Here's how you defeat it. Every time your income increases, every time an expense disappears, every time you get a windfall, you make a deal with yourself. 50% to lifestyle, 50% to freedom. You get a $3,000 raise, $1,500 goes to increasing your gap. $1,500 you can spend however you want. You pay off a car and free up $400 a month, $200 goes into your investments. $200 you can redirect to something that makes your life better today. This keeps you human. It keeps the plan sustainable, and it keeps your escape date moving closer instead of staying locked in the distant future. The people who make it out are not the ones who deprive themselves into misery. They're the ones who made a deal with their future self and kept it. The moment you will want to quit. Let me tell you about the hardest part. Not the beginning. The beginning is fueled by excitement. Not the end. The end is fueled by proximity. The hardest part is the middle. The middle is where you have been executing for 2 years. You've built the gap. You've automated the investments. You've said no to 100 things your friends said yes to. And your account balance is growing, but you're not even halfway to your number yet. In the middle, the finish line is far enough away that it doesn't feel real, and the starting line is far enough behind you that you've forgotten what desperation felt like. The middle is where discipline goes to die. And this is the moment when you are going to be tempted to stop. Not because the plan isn't working, because it is working slowly, and slow doesn't feel like winning. Here's what I did to survive the middle, and here's what I'm telling you to do. Every quarter, calculate your freedom date using your current numbers, how much you have invested, how much you're adding every month, what your target number is. Run it through a compound interest calculator and get your exact finish date. Then watch that date move closer. In year 1, your freedom date might be 23 years away. In year 2, it might be 19 years away. You did not just gain 1 year, you gained 4. That's compound interest doing what it does. That's time becoming your ally instead of your enemy. And every time you see that date move closer faster than the calendar is moving forward, you will remember why you're doing this. The middle is not where you quit. The middle is where you prove you are different. The choice that defines everything. Here's the reality nobody wants to say out loud. You can have the life you have right now, or you can have freedom. For most people, you cannot have both. Not forever. That doesn't mean you have to live in deprivation. It means you have to choose deliberately. It means you have to look at your life and ask a question most people avoid their entire existence. What am I keeping in my life right now that is stealing my future? Is it the car payment on a vehicle that is more about image than transportation? Is it the apartment in the trendy neighborhood that costs $800 more a month than the place 15 minutes away? Is it the habit of spending $150 every weekend on things you don't remember by Tuesday? I'm not telling you what to cut. I'm telling you to look at it honestly and decide whether it's worth the trade. Because that's what every dollar you spend is, a trade. You're trading future freedom for present comfort. Sometimes that trade is worth it. Most of the time, it's not. The people who escape are the ones who stopped making trades they didn't consciously agree to. What happens when you actually get there? I need to tell you what it feels like the day you hit your number, because nobody prepared me, and I don't want you to be surprised. You won't feel euphoric. You won't feel like fireworks are going off. You will feel something much quieter and much more powerful. You will feel untouchable. Not because you're rich, because you are free. Free to say no, free to walk away, free to take risks you could never take before because failure no longer means catastrophe. The day I hit my number, I was sitting at my desk doing work I didn't particularly enjoy, and I realized mid-sentence that I didn't have to finish. Not the sentence, the entire situation. I could stand up and leave, and nothing in my life would collapse. I didn't leave that day, but knowing I could changed everything. That's what you're building toward. Not retirement, not leisure, not endless vacation. You're building towards the ability to make decisions based on what you want instead of what you need. And once you have that, you have something no salary, no title, no amount of external validation can ever give you. You have yourself back. Your move. You now have the blueprint. You know the 4 walls. You know the traps. You know what kills most plans and what makes the survivors different. The only question left is whether you're going to build this or whether you're going to close this video, feel inspired for 6 hours, and then drift back into the exact pattern that has kept you stuck for years. I can't make that choice for you. Nobody can. But I can tell you this. A year from now, you are going to be somewhere. The only question is whether you will be closer to the exit or further into the prison. That decision is not made a year from now. It's made today, right now, in the next 10 minutes. So, what's it going to be?
If this video just gave you the map you have been searching for, I need you to do something immediately. First, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because every single week I am releasing another piece of the puzzle. The next video might be the one that makes everything else click. Do not let the algorithm decide if you see it. Second, smash the like button. Not for me, but because that is how this message reaches the person in your life who is one video away from finally breaking free. Third, send this to someone who needs to see it. Someone stuck in the middle, someone who thinks it is too late, someone who is waiting for permission to start. Be the person who gives them that permission. Now, I need to hear from you, and I want you to be ruthlessly honest because the answer to this question is going to determine everything. If you executed a perfect escape plan starting today, what is the one thing in your current life you would have to give up that scares you the most? What is the expense, the habit, the lifestyle piece that you know is keeping you trapped, but the idea of cutting it makes your stomach turn? Drop it in the comments. Do not sugarcoat it. And here's the second question. What is your freedom date going to be? Pick a month and a year right now. Write it down and commit to it publicly. Let this comment section be the place you made it real. I will see you in the next one. Now go build.